Have you seen common struggles
Yeah.
in the artists you've known over your life that have been friends or colleagues?
Yeah.
Do you think there's a pattern? Do you think it's connected to the fact that we are creative people?
Yeah, I do. But I can only speak for myself that as an actor, my toolbox is my emotions. So I feel things very differently. I don't know if that's related in my own struggle in life, the traumas I've been through, whatever family history, but I feel things very, very differently, and I incorporate that into my work. The reason Buster Bluth had a lot of panic attacks and maybe brought some hopefully authenticity to them is I've had panic attacks. I know what anxiety feels like. And I think also you're dealing with imagination, where an artist lives his life or her life on imagination. You can envision it, and you want to either put it on canvas, you want to perform it, you want to dance it. But that imagination is very much a tool, and it's very vivid. That's a beautiful thing. Unfortunately, that imagination can go to a really dark place.
Right.
It can go to a place of what if I don't work again? What if this happens? And as much vividness as the creative expression can have, that vividness is the same when it comes to the anxiety and the what ifs and all that kind of stuff. So that's the other side of it, where you emotionally, I can only speak for myself, when I get to a down place and I envision something happening, my body is reacting to that image, because it's a very clear, because in other work I've done, when I've had to create a kind of a clear imagination of what it is going to be, I'm having to make it real. I remember doing this episode of Law and Order years ago, and the story was about my daughter being kidnapped. And I have to go to the place in my mind as though my daughter was being taken from me in order to give a slice of life that people can connect to and is based in reality.
Right.
And your body reacts to that. So all that to say, I think as a human race, our default is to go to the fear. Our default is to go to the what if. Our default is to go to, damage control. And then you put the artistic thing in there of emotions and imagination. It can really be a bit of a cluster.
Yeah. Yeah. I can relate to that a little bit. I'm a painter, and a lot of my work, particularly around identity, when I became a mom for the first time,
Oh gosh, yeah,
was really visceral, and nobody would buy it because they were like, "Oh my God,
yeah.
you're not going to hang that up on the fireplace." And so, really,
Cozy.
right? Really processing this identity shift, and the physicality of that change, and so I don't relate in the same way to the deep embodiment that you have to take on as an actor. But that was the closest I think I came to that, because something had happened to me in my body.
Yeah,
and,
of course.
And there was this other person. And so,
But I hear what you're saying. I don't know if there is much of a difference, because you as an artist, you want so bad for that expression of your work to almost showcase and transfer what you experience.
Right.
So I would think there's some wanting that reality to be expressed.
And an artist friend of mine also pointed out I was always a 2D artist, and after I had Eli, I started making sculptures. He said that it became 3D. Your art became incarnate. I'm like, whoa, you're blowing my mind. I didn't think about it theologically.
Yeah.
Which was really, really interesting to me. So
that made me think of one other thing, if you don't mind me. The beautiful thing about life is when you grow and you begin to have these tools, because I would say probably maybe about 10 or 12 years ago, I think I definitely hit a break where the emotions, the thoughts, everything just, I felt like my mind just went chunk, and I was unbalanced. It was just, everything was really off. And I started doing cognitive behavioral therapy. And I can only speak for myself, but I've talked to a lot of artists this, and it's to be able to, not immediately, but over time get to a place where you become a little more of a observer of your thoughts rather than identifying with every single one of them. Because any emotion, any thought, I was just like, it was just, especially having a child and, with the uncertainty of my career and all this kind of stuff, it was just like, is everything. It just became, I felt like such a victim to thoughts and emotions. And that practice of examining thoughts and feelings as though they're cars on a highway and just kind of looking them, or as like you're looking at them on a screen. And if like a thought comes to my head, like, what if my daughter is kidnapped? That I can find my body reacting. It's like, oh yeah, there's that thought that, my daughter's, it's, you're able to just be a little more of an observer.
Yeah.
Which I'm getting better at, but it's an I think it's an amazing tool for artists.
Yeah, I would agree. And I remember when I first got to the point where I could differentiate myself from my anxiety and identify what was happening and say, oh, that's the anxiety. That's not me. And so it's resisting that identity collapse that happens with like, you are not your anxiety. You have anxiety that is a struggle sometimes. And then internal family systems has also been helpful. What's the name of the Pixar movie with the
Inside Out?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's based on that. And so
wow, that's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, so it's such a stunning picture of how we can befriend those dark parts of ourselves and still care for them without sort of collapsing into those spaces.
I did a play 2 years ago in San Francisco, and it was a one-man play, and I had not done theater in years, and I was convinced I was going to have a panic attack every single night getting on stage. Because it was just me, and then this other actress comes in towards the end, but mainly it was me in the beginning. And every night, that kind of anxiety person would come up and be like, you can't do this, you're going to have a panic attack, you're going to forget all your lines, you're going to embarrass yourself in front of how many ever people. And I would have to have a conversation with that. I would be like, my therapist would say like, hey, hey, thanks for being here. I know you're here to help me be safe. I know that's your goal, but I'm going to say, why don't you just wait here? I'm going to go perform. But I really appreciate you being here because what I wanted many years, I was like, get out. I mean, no, I'm not nervous. No, this is going to be fine. Rather than this acceptance of like, hey, I know you, I see you, I see you. And of course you're here, and thanks for trying to help me.
Yeah, I had to do that this morning. I was like, no, you're not nervous. It's going to be, go sit over there in the lobby, have a glass of water. I'll be right out. I totally get that.